What up? I'm Dr. Jones,
And I am Dr. Socks,
and welcome to another episode of the Quarantine Snacks Podcast, aka the QSP.
where you come for the snacks, but you leave with some soul food. What's up, Doc?
Man, nothing much, man, nothing much, but everything. Very
Uh,
excited to be back in
yeah.
on the show and talking to you, bro. Hopefully the audio quality is a little bit better. We're using Anchor to record us, so we'll see how that works.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I'm excited. Feel good. How about yourself?
Yeah, man, that's actually a good. I was thinking about that, man. I feel better this week. This week sucked.
Yes.
They seem to just keep sucking, bro. They just keep sucking. But like I am feeling a little more energized. I got a little bit of sleep last night. Had a little drink last night. Didn't do much. Just sat around with Babe. We talked, had some good, meaningful conversations, man. And chopping it up with you for the last hour has definitely helped kind of raise the spirits a little bit, man. So feeling a little better. Feeling all right. Feeling all right.
Good,
Yeah,
good,
yeah,
good,
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah,
All
man.
right. Yeah.
So I think I wanted to kind of let our listeners know that we're going to try to like organize what we're doing, right? So Jay and I are up to something. What we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure every episode is better than the last. I was looking at like our last episodes, right? This past week we put out a lot of content, right? So like I was looking like what can we do better? And one thing you and I talked about, man, was like how we organize our episodes. So what we want to do is today we want to talk first a little bit about like snacks, right? So we're gonna talk about our name, quarantine snacks, a little bit. And the snacks part, we want our snacks to kind of be like different segments of the episodes. So the beginning of our episodes, what we're hoping to do is to kind of let you guys know kind of what is the lay of the land, right? What's our objectives? What are the snacks for the day? And so this week, our snacks are going to be socks, drinks, and sneaks, like we always do. Shout out to some people and some platforms and some stuff like that. We also want to kind of talk about what quarantine means because we just talked about snacks. We'll talk about entanglement. That's the title of our episode today. So I'm excited about talking about getting all wrapped up and entangled and what that means. So, yeah, so it's a little entanglement. So we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it,
So
and
we
then
do talk about it, not
okay,
entangle.
we don't get entangled. I was gonna ask, like, what do you
No,
mean? But okay, I don't get entangled. I just
I
I
don't
just
need
talk about entanglement.
clarify.
So,
Yeah, very important.
and and after we do a little entanglement, after we talk about a little entanglement,
There you go.
we're gonna give a little update about Black Lives Matter because this is a podcast that is for the people by the people. And you got two providers. Lord, I'm thinking about my job. Two co-hosts who are black and who are proudly black and who want to make sure we keep talking about black stuff because we black and blackity black. And on this Juneteenth month,
Mm,
July-teenth month, we're gonna keep being black. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
um, so yeah, man. Let's start with uh, what you got on, man. Socks, sneaks, drinks. What's up?
All right, so go through quick. First off, shout out to the hoodie made by my cousin Nija Howard. She is
Beast.
CEO of the Stacker Starve brand. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook. She's doing pre-orders. She's also doing some great work on beauty. She's going to school for cosmetology and amazing person. The brand. She's your neighborhood hope dealer. She likes to say. One of her
Ah.
messages is like, hey man, listen, you either figure out ways to hustle and stack or you starve. And so that motivation to being resilient and keeping continuing to thrive. So definitely support Cuzzo. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for the hoodie. It feels great. It looks
Mm,
great.
looks
It
like money.
it feels like money too, bro, and it's not
Mm.
expensive. I will say it's not expensive. These are very affordable. She's got the top, she's got the pants, she has the t-shirts. So hit her up. Hit her up if you're looking for. During the quarantine, a great brand, the black-owned brands. Um, Never Too Fly to Pray. That's where my hat is from. They were doing a
Mm.
quarantine special, bro. This hat was $10.
What?
Yep,
But keep
$10.
a
And
list of the
every
names.
3 days, he was dropping new products. So never too fly to pray.com. He's got socks,
Dope.
he's got hats, He's got t-shirts. He's got all that. And
Fire.
last but not least, because
Hmm.
you've been kicking my behind with these sneakers, because I've been trying to preserve it.
What you
I'm
got over
bringing
there?
some heat, man. You said it smell like money, it feel like
They
money.
smell like money.
Well, then I got to go with the LeBron threes, the retro
Ooh,
Saint Vincent Saint Mary's, brother. Yeah, buddy.
money, money.
Yeah, no. Retail only. Retail only. But I just wanted you to know
Oh
that I
yeah.
have been
Oh
saving
yeah.
my
Oh
heat
yes. Oh
for
yes,
it. So
sir.
I'm just going.
Yes, sir.
That's a nice little backdrop.
That is
So,
funky. That is
because I'm
funky.
tired of you coming in here just
Yes, sir. Yes,
Black
sir.
History Month, Air Maxes, slang. So I was like, all right, cool. Let me
Yes,
go in the tuck and pull out something
that is
for you. So
that. You went in deep for that one. That one's
I
deep.
did.
That's
I did.
deep. That's deep.
Those is high school colors, St. Vincent,
And I
St.
know
Mary.
that I was looking. I was like, those are the high school. What's funny is those. I believe those are the same colors from Allen Iverson when he was at Bethel.
And Bethel.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
your side of town,
That's my side
DMV
of
area.
town. But
There
them
you
things
go.
funky. They funky.
Okay.
In
All
fact,
right.
that I think that the threes is part of what they integrated to the graffiti. What was the ones that just came out? The 17s that just came
The
out?
four.
The
Those
fours.
are
The fours.
fours. Yeah.
But they fresh.
I ain't
They
gonna,
real
I ain't,
fresh.
I ain't gonna, I ain't gonna mess with you because I might have some of them in the tuck too.
Okay. I got some heat though. I got something.
Mm-hmm.
I got
What you
something.
working with?
So I this shirt, people seem to really like this shirt. I wish it were a black owned brand. It's not. It was straight from Marshalls. But I didn't do it on a Blackout Tuesday, so I've had it for a little while. So I love this shirt. People like this shirt a whole lot. As far as other things going on, I had to pull out my revenge. You see that? You see that? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
ROTN. So that's my homeboy, Atmar Matthews. He goes by AMAT. He's a rapper. He's also doing some other
Yeah.
amazing things in the city of Memphis. He's from the M. And AMAT, shout out to you. ROTN stands for Revenge of the Nerds. Great rap
Woo!
group. Got a new track with Project Pat. The boy doing some real serious things. Shout out to AMAT for that. Yeah. Real good stuff. Real proud of my homie, man. Morehouse brother, really, really great man. As far as the
Okay.
socks go, might as well show you the socks. Last month was Pride Month, so I picked these up.
Yeah.
With some light,
Hey,
with some light, with
like
some light.
it.
I like them. I actually picked
I
them up because I
like
like the
it.
colors, but they got Pride on the
Yeah.
toe, so that was real
Ooh,
funky. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna design something like this one of these days, and you're gonna
that's
have some of them Dr. Socks on your feet. So just keep your eyes open, Jay.
yeah.
It's coming. It's
Yeah.
coming.
I see. Man, I'm glad I like the socks, bro, because one thing that was kind of important, with everything that was going on with George Floyd and all the other killings and just wrongful deaths due to police brutality. One thing that I have, what we have to acknowledge too is, our LGBTQ plus friends and family and brothers and sisters, they stood in solidarity with
Bro.
us. Many of us are within that community as well, but they stood in solidarity to say, hey, we understand that during Pride Month, this is what's important, because if everyone doesn't matter, our
So
lives don't
real.
matter. Well, if Black lives don't matter, our lives don't matter too. And for many of us, we are Black and a
Yeah,
part of the
it's true.
LGBTQ community. And so I just wanted to, that's dope, man, because they've been and will continue, and we will continue to be tremendous allies for all of our brothers and sisters. And so I need to cop me a pair of them socks, brother. I don't know where you got them from. You probably be,
Bro.
you be hiding where you be getting your socks, but it's okay. It's okay. That's dope, man.
Sometimes that's how it goes down. You're right. One more word on that, man. I've noticed. So I guess two more words. One is that I think I told you that one of the ways in which I am allowing the BLM movement to change me is that instead of only looking to allies for them to help my movement, I'm looking at ways in which I can help their movements. And so I'm really doing some deep diving. Again, this is not sufficient. This is just the start. Some deep diving around the homophobia I was raised with, some ways in which I face it. I talk to my partner about it a lot, just kind of like how can I kind of function in a space where I am like developing and kind of meeting some of these like ugly Moors that I grew up with. Um, so I'm really, really happy to be thinking about. I've been thinking about it for years, working on it for years, but I'm really grateful that I feel kind of re-energized around that. And then the other word is to you, man. Like I really peep. I love the way you use your IG, the way you use your platform, man. Like you definitely make sure you don't just stick to heteronormative or heterosexual norms, and you make sure that you kind of cast a broad net when it comes to celebrating Black people. And I'm just like I look up to you for that, bro. So I'm really grateful for what you do there,
Appreciate
bro.
that, man.
So
Appreciate that,
I
man.
aspire to do that, man. So my kicks.
Oh, God, I'm
Um,
scared.
you know, and these was a fluke. I went for a different pair of shoes, and I'll show
Okay,
you those
Drake.
shoes later.
Okay, Drake. Hey, Mama, fluke.
You know,
Picks of
I
the day of
I went
fluke.
for a different pair of shoes, and I just happened to ask about this other pair, and they had one pair I needed. It was like limited exclusive. They're gonna blow your mind. And then I was like, y'all happen to have these? And they was like, we got one and a 12. And I was like, box it up. So this is something I never had. I ain't even sure I really wanted it. But when I saw it,
Oh,
it 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 just and I'm sorry.
you
Um
just got those too. They
I
ain't come out not too long
ain't
ago.
warm. I ain't this icy still at the bottom. I ain't warm. And
Weren't
if
you supposed to be in a quarantine when these came out?
bro, I was, and I happened to pop in the mall, and I don't know if y'all know much about the top threes, but those are the top three Jordan fives that's ever come out. And so they put them all together, and we got our purple tongue to pay homage to the grape, the metallic at the bottom, and the fire red, as you can see here. So I'm still scared to wear them. They all suede, but they're gonna be worn outside one of these days. When outside open back up, I'm gonna just do what you see how you do it. You did like that? Okay, yeah, that's how you do it. So yeah, there we go. There goes our sock sneaks. A little something light. I told you light. Just a little light work. Hard to get. I don't even know if you can find them anymore. But you know.
You can't. You can't. Again, this is all for motivational purposes only because
Yeah.
when we were growing up, we couldn't get any of
Man,
these.
couldn't get it.
Not
Couldn't get it.
because hey, we just and so we made a promise to ourselves, and as
Man.
part of the friendship, we realized we had a lot of things that were alike. We made a promise to ourselves, hey, this is going to be one of the things that we like. You know, when we get the chance to be able to afford these because of the hard work and dedication to education, to just doing it the right way. This
Yeah,
is something
man.
we want ourselves with. So anybody who sees this, any young person who sees this, like you can make a lot more money doing things the right way using your brain than anything that's fast and quick. So
Absolutely. So
you
real,
don't
man.
normally see doctors with these sneakers on, but we are helping to normalize it because we are here and we take up space. So,
Man, love it, bro. What are you drinking, Doc? What are you drinking?
dog, I am drinking green tea with a little bit of almond milk.
Hmm.
Really good. So when I was in AP English, we were
Okay.
reading all the books that didn't have black people in it, like Pride and Prejudice and
Right, right, right,
all
right,
the
right.
and we were doing it based off of how culturally the things were there. So one of the activities was actually learning how they drink tea in England and the UK, and they would use milk or cream in their tea. Never heard of it, never tried it before. Started in high school, now I'm addicted to it. So switched away to try and get rid of dairy a little
Yeah.
bit. I still like pizza though,
My
but
pizza.
yeah. So almond milk and green tea, brother. That's where we at.
Man, that's amazing. So I'm going to the gym as soon as this is over. So I have ready to rock and roll my Total War. Now I wonder if this is just a pre-workout. I mean, I'm really caffeine sensitive. So this is actually like 2 days old because it takes a long time for me to get through much caffeine. But sometimes it helps in the gym. What I want to know is if there are some black-owned businesses that do pre-workout. So I would love for you guys to let us know if there's some supplements, some caffeine, some pre-workout, some advice, all that type of stuff, black owned, because I'm all for black owned right about now. I mean, I'm scared to eat. I'm scared to eat beans from Goya. I'm scared to eat chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A. Don't get me started. So I'm just saying, like, I just
Oh
want to make sure,
no, no!
bro, Goya. Oh, don't do it, Goya. I was here hurting. I was here hurting.
Oh, they about to be hurt.
We ain't playing. We ain't playing, Jay.
No.
We ain't playing.
But why do we even do that, man? Like, help everyone understand why we talk about the importance of black dollars and black business and black ownership.
Yeah, man. Well, one of the one of the things that pops up for me right away, man, is that like number one, we should be doing this already. We should be
Yeah.
supporting our black businesses already. So I'm elated about the surge around Black lives, around Black business. But BOB, Black owned businesses, is like this is something that we have shied away from because of convenience. I think primarily price. Number two, and just kind of the rep that black businesses get, right? When I think about black businesses, what pops in my head is the same stereotypes that I have about like certain types of restaurants. You know what I mean? When you go in, the service might be trash, but the food might be good, right? So we think we put black owned businesses in that same space. But now what I'm seeing happen is people are starting to say, wait, like one of the places in which black people have power is in our dollars. I
Right.
used to work for Best Buy, man, and when they told me for the first time that, like, I can't remember the number, but there was like trillions of dollars in online sales from just people of color, from black people and people of color, like, geez, like I was like, wow. So there's all this power that none of these organizations are talking about, right? There was a list when I was an undergrad. There were certain lists, and I won't name the companies off, but there were certain companies that were on what we call an NUD list, a non-urban dictate list, which means that they were specifically not, they were making an effort to specifically not advertise to people of color because they didn't necessarily want people of color wearing their clothes, and their clothes weren't designed for those people. Long list, long, long list. I was ashamed because one of those companies, I used to buy all my dress clothes from there. Haven't bought it
Yeah.
since. And now what we see is we see watch companies, we see dress shirt companies popping up, we see hair businesses, we see bow tie, we see people that are doing food, grocery stores. I've learned so much about the Nashville area when it comes to black owned business that I'm like, man, this a lot more here than I thought there were. I mean, nail salons, the whole nine. We just have to look for them. And I'm hoping what this does is put the black dollar back where it belongs. So the Black Wall Street does more, or the new Black Wall Street isn't just a place, right? It's an idea. It's a concept.
I like it. I like it. I'm sitting there taking notes because we kind of turned it into a quick little segment unintentionally. But
Mm,
you're right, man. And this is how you get to that equity, man. We need to have ownership, and a lot of times we don't have the resources. Like in the past, that we talked about, certain restaurants, the service might be bad, but the food is amazing. And then you sit and say, okay, well, is there equity in there? A bit like, are are they also the business owner? Are they also the server? Are they also the cook? And so
good
it
point.
reminded me when you talked about undergrad, I was like, yo, it's the same thing I hear people talk about HBCUs, where they're like,
Mm,
the idea where it's unfair stereotypes where they can say that, they can make unrealistic judgments
yeah.
of without knowing. And so what I'm seeing here is seeing us and being able to be connected to the business owners. You're learning that, hey, it's just me running this company. It's just my family running this company. We're trying to
Yep.
figure it out. We want to grow to the space where we can hire people, where
Hmm.
we can invest that way. But for now, this is also my 5 to 9, and I also have a 9 to 5. And so then you
Boy.
sit and it's like, we have to make sure we're reinvesting and supporting
Man.
the best way that it can. And if it takes your hat or whatever, a couple more days to get there than normal, build and grow and help to teach each other how we
Exactly.
can build it and make
Yeah,
it better
man.
for one another. And so we're not saying that black dollars are better, Terry Crews, or we're saying that we have to have
Yeah.
ownership. We have to have acknowledgement of our existence so that we can stay in business and have a seat at the table.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
man, I like it, man. That's dope.
Yeah, man. And to your point, like the last thing I want to say about that is I want to make sure to answer your question, which was like, why are we doing this in the first place? It's
Mm-hmm.
because some of these large companies that black people have been putting their money into are starting to kind of show their colors, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think quite frankly, it's disrespectful for a company like Goya specifically to like in your face, right? Support a president who has been very, very, his actions, not his words are really inconsistent, but his actions say that Hispanic lives don't matter, right? Children in cages, don't get me started with ICE, the whole nine. So then for a company, right, where, and I don't even know if Latin folks eat Goya the way American folks do, but that's another conversation. Like, but it's kind of like, here you go, one of the major proponents of a lot of stuff that's in my cabinet, was in my cabinet, and now to make some support behind someone who is not just misogynistic, also racist, also through their policy shows that, especially when you're allowed to get one of your homies off, as what happened in the news this past week when he commutes this sentence for whatever this dude's name is, and then has Hispanic kids in cages. Like, come on, bro. Like, so therefore, what we're gonna do is we say, okay, there's no point in like bombing your buildings. There's no point
Mm-hmm.
in like getting in your face, yelling and screaming, or trying to hurt you and your family. Let's hit you where it hurts, right? With your dollars. So what you gonna do without black and Hispanic dollars, right? So good luck.
That's real. I love it, brother.
Yeah, man.
I love it.
Quarantine. Jay, tell us what quarantine means. Why in the world are we talking about quarantine snacks?
Yeah, so we named it quarantine snacks because it actually, it started out as a project, a mental health happy hour, right? So we didn't even have a name for it. It was just like, this is what we're gonna do. This was in the first couple of weeks, I think, first 2 weeks of being self quarantine. Everyone was struggling with how do we make this quick adjustment, this immediate adjustment, and so we're like, we'll give them some snacks, something that can possibly help them from a mental health perspective. A happy hour, we'll turn up, chat. It gives us an opportunity to communicate. What we did find is that quarantine has an even deeper root, a deeper meaning that is actually pretty good. So quarantine means by Merriam-Webster. A state of isolation, of enforced isolation. That could be someone enforces it on you, or you enforce it on yourself.
Ding, ding,
And
ding.
so, what I liked about it is, man, you were able to put the mental health spin to it. So it was like, oh, this is perfect. So, could you talk a little bit more about that isolation and mental health space for that?
Absolutely, man. So you know better than anybody when it comes to your work in diversity, equity, and inclusion that the real change that happens in society starts in conversation, right? Starts one on one with other people and by myself. Like, what's happening in psychology? We call it what's going on in your private events, right? In your home when the doors close, in your mind, in your heart. What's happening inside? The things that no one else knows about. Um, and it's hard to explore those things when there's so many external stressors. I'll add a layer to that, which is that when you've experienced trauma, right, where I always talk about it this way, whether it's like stress, whether it's little t trauma, so you've been through some difficult things, big T trauma, sexual abuse, other experiences that you might have had, people might have had in childhood, like living with parents who struggle with alcohol abuse or other things like that, or even like or multiple traumas, which is other diagnoses we call things like complex trauma, sometimes PTSD. When you've experienced these things, you get one of the ways you protect yourself is get really good at monitoring the outside. You get really, really good at seeing what other people are doing, keeping your eyes open. In fact, one of the main symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder is hypervigilance. It's just that being on edge and watching for everything to make sure it's all stays where it's supposed to be. It's why my back can't be to the door. It's why I've got to walk the perimeter 5 times before I go to bed and the like. So because we get so good at monitoring the outside, we really don't do a good job of monitoring what's going on inside. This is why
Mhm.
mindfulness is really important. Meditation can be really helpful. Prayer, whatever that looks like for you. Spending some time. I'm an extrovert, man, and I love people. But one of the things this quarantine has forced me to do is to slow down and
Yep.
to be able to sit with me and see the ugly and see the pretty. I told you earlier, like me and Bay, somehow we're both alive still. She hasn't ripped my head off, and I haven't ripped hers. Like we are still alive. So we've been forced to really, in some ways, like be present with the relationship, right? With all the
Yeah.
good, the
Yeah.
bad, and the ugly. So the point here is that the isolation that is enforced can be enforced by you, right? If you are the person enforcing the isolation, then you can be the person to say, like, I need some time away. It's what I suggest for folks who are struggling with anger, right? You're mad at somebody. My first suggestion is like deep breath, go sit down somewhere. And when you do that, then you allow the integration to happen between what's going on in your heart and what's going on in your head. So that's really the way I look at it, man. Is like that we do such a good job of kind of keeping our head on a swivel, which means we never look in. So
Mm.
yeah.
That's powerful, man. That's powerful, exactly, man. So, with your tools around mental health awareness and you being a practitioner and provider, and me doing work around leadership development, diversity and inclusion, and personal development, performance coaching, like
Hmm.
it just makes a perfect opportunity for us to give service back to the world and grow with the world as well. So, like we take that feedback. Feel free to continue to ask us questions or topics you want us to speak to. So thank y'all for that and continue to do so because that's what we're trying to provide. We enjoy this. And so we love doing the research, providing those tips and providing those ways to help make not just ourselves better and evolve to be better human beings, but also the community as well. And we grow together. So thank y'all for
Very true.
being with us, man. Now we got some announcements, bro.
We
We got
do.
some people who saw us on social media. They noticed some things, man. Tell us about it, yo. Tell us
Man,
about your
I am
boy.
I'm so excited, man. I am so excited. First and foremost, first and foremost, I mean, the king himself, Jason Dempsey, pulled up, came through with
Man,
logo
yeah.
of all logos.
Bruh.
I mean, I
It's
mean.
fire. I was like, wait a minute. First off, he did it so fast.
He did,
You know,
right?
I was like,
Whew.
and it's so well done. This is why you don't do everything yourself. Use your friends. Use people who love and have passion for things.
Yes,
Empower them because it shows, bro. For him to come up with that logo and concept based off of the small conversations we had with him,
bro,
was like, yo, and he
boy.
came up with like 4 or 5 different concepts.
Options. He had options, bro. So like, I don't know if he went to, I don't know, like a alphabets factory and was like, I need the biggest Q y'all got, and he like bid it, and he was like, I got an idea. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but all I know is it's amazing.
Yep,
And
it's fire,
and
bro.
we are so excited, so grateful. I didn't even realize we were supporting a black owned business by hitting up Jay and doing that. But hey, I'm all for it, man. I love when it's natural. Super excited about the logo. Thank you, Jason Dempsey. Hit him up. His IG is JSNDMPSY. He's also got some other projects. He's boiling up. He's doing some other cool stuff too, more than just a website and graphic design. So make sure to hit him up, folks. If you need some more info, hit us up. We'd be happy to link you. I've actually already linked him with a couple folks, so hoping the ball keeps rolling.
There you go.
We got some other stuff, Jay. What else
Yeah,
is going
man.
on?
Yeah, man. So shout out to Brandon Telg, my brother from another mother, my business partner with Self Narrate and Nonprofit, and just good friend. He did research because he wanted to figure out how to help us have a larger platform and get
Wow.
outside of more than just Facebook and YouTube. He did a lot of research and he was like, listen,
Hmm.
Anchor is going to be your best bet. So we
Hmm.
created an Anchor profile for those who want it or are thinking about doing a podcast. When you create a profile, logged in, did everything there, it put our stuff on all the major platforms. So we are now on Spotify. We're on Apple
Spotify, Apple
Podcasts.
Podcast,
We're putting our stuff on Facebook, on
Facebook,
YouTube, trying to
YouTube,
keep it on Instagram. Like
IGTV.
wherever you carrier pigeon, we don't care. We'll put it wherever it can help our voices and your voices be heard. So
Yes.
excited to see this. So if you can subscribe, rate us on those apps because when you do that, it helps us to get put on different pages and different spaces for more people to come in. It even
Mm.
helps us in terms of ad dollars. So the more subscribers and likes we have, the cheaper it is to do certain ads. And
Mm.
all those ads are just so that we can promote that this podcast exists so people can get these
Yeah.
snacks. That's
That's it,
it.
man. Gotta eat.
Gotta eat. Why
Gotta
not?
eat.
Why
Gotta
not
eat.
eat with us? I
Why
mean,
not
come
eat
on.
with us?
You know what I mean? Well, we got another
Man,
logo, another slogan. All right, I'll take it.
gotta eat. We'll write it down.
All right, brother.
Man,
We are knee deep in this thing.
so deep. So deep. Speaking of deep, speaking of deep,
Can I go deep?
deep, deep. Speaking
Lord.
of deep,
The
man,
title. The title
the
of
title,
our episode. Entanglement.
Entanglement.
So I'm sure like the rest of Black America has yesterday,
Yeah.
Jada Pinkett and Will Smith did
Hmm.
their red table talk
They did.
to discuss um, the rumors
Rumors.
of said entanglement with the
Entanglement.
August Alsina. Now,
Hmm.
normally we would not veer into topics like this, but a part of quarantine snacks is understanding balance. I need to be very hyper focused on creating positive change in
Yes.
my work and in my circles of influence, but I also recognize that I need to get away, and sometimes some good reality drama is good for balance. So we were like, let's talk
Oh,
to it. We're gonna start
brother.
pulling in more current events to balance off the mental health and everything else as well.
Brother,
So
I'm so grateful for you because I used to say this about Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. I used to say this about Black Ink Crew when I was watching it. All these other shows. I would say, you know what I love about Real Housewives? Yes, I watch Real Housewives and
yeah,
Orange County and all that stuff.
yeah,
And the reason I needed those, people didn't understand why they so because work is hard. It is
yes,
hard out here
yeah,
for a pimp. And sometimes I come home and all I want to do is look at somebody else's drama.
yeah.
Because I ain't got no drama. I ain't got no drama.
No,
I ain't got no
mm-mm.
drama at all. You
I'm
see that?
good.
No drama. No drama. No
Yeah,
drama at all. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy. I'm happy to go. I wonder what's going on. The old Instagrams. And I get to scrolling and gets to scrolling. And next thing I see, a little
Uh-huh.
entangling.
A little entanglement. Now,
Little
also keep
entangling.
in mind now. One other thing that we recognize. I know. For me, I was that person too. I was like, I can't stand watching this. I see what it does
Mm,
to my people. All these little
mm,
kids watching this, and they gonna think that this is like what reality is. And then
mm.
like white people, and they like this is what black people are.
Facts.
This is not a true
Facts.
reflection of who we are. And then I had to
Mm.
realize some of us are ratchet, but not more of our stories are being told. There's balance
Yes.
there. I was getting tired
Yes.
of seeing that being the only story of blackness, and I like the fact that they're bringing in other people that aren't black. Like everybody
Mm-hmm.
has just
Mm-hmm. Disney's
stuff and
got it.
drama. Like I don't like
Disney's
I can
got it.
free myself. Yeah,
Then we saw I don't know if you heard Marquise. I am Marquise, the DJ. Oh man, he made a beat. It's hard. It's so hard.
the
Entangling.
entanglement beat.
Oh yeah, he made the
I did.
entanglement
I heard
beat.
it this morning.
Hard. But
All right,
so
because
and of course, right? Of course. So let's start at the top, right?
okay,
So it seems as though Will Smith and so let's back up a little bit. What I love about the story, which we'll give a little précis to, a word I don't get to use often, Jay, but I wanted to say it. Precis, Precis, with an accent
that's
over
the
the E, I
N
believe.
word.
Right.
I don't know what that is,
Uh,
but
so what happened? So before I go there, I want to say that what Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith do is, I think, both genius and like there's a paucity of this in the black community.
another NCT word.
Bang, ding, ding, ding. And so what I'm getting at is no one talks about marriage for real, right? I
Mm-hmm.
have been searching, and I tell my girl this all the time, my woman, my girlfriend, my partner, I tell her this, that one of the things that I hold near and dear to my heart is mentorship. I mean, for me to get to where I am right now, I needed to have someone, at least professionally, I had to have someone who was doing a PhD or who already had a PhD in psychology. In order for me to get from through high school, I had to know high school graduates. To get through Morehouse, I had to know Morehouse graduates. To get through UF, I had to, and now what's always lacking, right, where the paucity lies, is where are the healthy marriages? Where are the examples of what does like love really look like? Because I feel like those who are struggling with love, like which is probably most of us, um, I think we do it in silos, right? And we take it and we hide it here, we hide it there, so that folks don't know that we really struggling. And I ain't saying everybody should be entangled all up. I'm just saying some of y'all might be entangled, and
Don't
now
even know it.
and don't even know it. And Jada is saying like, look, y'all, entangling ain't as crazy as you think it is.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you bring up a good point too. For one, I've watched the video at least twice now. For one, the
Tell us what the video is. Tell us what happened, because I didn't do a good job saying what happened. Tell us what
but
happened.
you did. They try to clear up some rumors, and Will try to take Jada's position on the red table of taking her to the table, similar to the way she did Jordan Woods with the whole Tristan Thompson Kardashian kissing scandal, or whatever.
Yes.
So he was trying to. It was interesting because you see the life partner, you see the man also trying to challenge, but also still protect. And so he knew I feel like he knew he had to be there because the whole world is like, how does Will feel about this? What is
Facts.
going on? So I felt that there was an obligation that spoke to him as a person, as a human being, but also as a partner. He also recognized how culturally people view his place as the man in the relationship and wanting to know what his perspective. So for him to even be present, that takes
Yes.
a lot.
He's also Will Smith. Don't forget that he's also Will Smith. He ain't
Right, and
just anybody. He ain't me.
that's what people need to remember. This is Will Smith. This ain't like no. This is the person I looked up to as and still look up to as like the big cousin brother that I as an only child, like I wanted to be cool like that. I wanted to he knocked every box off his smash out the park. Like he was
So
the
real.
epiphany of like like this is what, in my
Right.
opinion, young millennials looked up to as like you said, the people who were at Morehouse to get you through Morehouse. This was like, oh, this is the person I watched Fresh Prince to navigate my emotions and better
Whew.
understand perspective of what it meant to be, a young black man. So to see that person, I know I'm not separating the art from the person, but I'm just saying
Right.
he's shown up in different spaces and places where we look to him. I don't say we. I look to him to be like, oh,
We.
let's see how Will Smith did.
We.
What's going on here. So I want to hear from him. What are his thoughts, right?
What,
So
what does
he,
Ja Rule think? What does Ja
every
Rule think?
thug needs a lady. Okay, anyway, but I think with what we saw is they try to make a statement saying yes, she was in a relationship. It took a little digging for Will Smith to get to that.
Relationship. Did she say relationship?
She said entanglement, and
Ah.
he said entanglement, and she was
Mm.
like entanglement. I said what I said. Now we found out what the definition of entanglement was. And it's a deep relationship. Well, I think that's what it's something. It's in there, but he was like
Mm.
entanglement, and she was like, yeah. So he was like, no, you mean like a relationship? She said, yeah. So again,
Mm.
they were separated and on their own, and it sounds like the intention was that they were probably going to divorce. So I think
Yes.
that that's part of what I'm seeing Twitter and Instagram forget to include. They were like on the verge. And he said, I was done.
I was done with you.
And she was like, I was too. And
Right.
we just didn't make that public. So there's
Mm.
some leeway there where it's like, hey, like they thought they was done. They thought they were done.
Mm.
And
I'm having a couple thoughts, brother. One of
okay.
those thoughts is we looked up the denotation of entangled, and here here it goes. Entangle, two definitions. One is to cause to become twisted together with or caught in. This is via Google. Okay, Google's
Also,
dictionary. Twisted together or caught in. Here's the other one. To involve someone in difficulties or complicated circumstances from which it is difficult to escape.
she knew exactly what she was using. That term she
She
did.
know what she was saying,
Because entanglement is actually a better definition than relationship. As whew, from what she just said.
bruh.
That's tough.
Entanglified.
Ent- bruh, bruh. But the problem is this is so public.
Mm-hmm.
It's so public. It's so and some of they're doing because I will say you probably didn't help yourself putting your entangled partner
Oh,
on the red table talk
oh yeah.
last year. This was not a long time ago. This was like she was like it was like 4 years ago. Like
Yeah,
I ain't spoken to them in
that.
so long. That was last year. So people haven't
Wow.
forgot that. But
Mm.
hey,
So
the
we're men, right? We
yep,
talked about in the future, right? We want to make sure to do an episode about the plight of Black women.
yep,
And one of the reasons why we don't want to talk too much about the plight of Black women is because we don't want to mansplain, right?
nope,
We don't want to be those guys that's trying to explain to women what they need and who they are.
nope.
I'm straight. All I'm gonna say about the plight of Black women today is hashtag Breonna Taylor, right? Make sure to support her. Make sure her voice does not die. But we'll talk about that a little more later. But what we can speak to though, as men, um, as Black men even, is the ego. You and I talked a little bit about the ego earlier. And man, like Will Smith, I admire the ways in which he has been trying, at least, to navigate the amount of pressure internally, right? The
Mm-hmm.
ego, but also to your point, the external pressure that we as Black people put on a guy like Will to be like, no. I
Mm-hmm.
found this out. No, this is not cool. I'm turning the house upside down. This is
Right.
crazy. It sounded like he did something that we, and I'm gonna step out a little and say this, that like, so Black folks might not always feel like they've been through stress or trauma, but there's some books that talk about post-traumatic slave syndrome and collective trauma, things like that. Um, and one of the relics of that whole process, man, can
I have it.
be that we don't. You got it somewhere? Okay, grab it.
Yeah.
You got it? Come on, show it to the people. There we go. Post traumatic slave syndrome by Dr. Say that for me, Joy DeGruy.
Yep. Dr.
There we
Joy.
go. Love it. Love it. Yes, please get that book. Check it out. If you need help on that, we'll make sure to give it to you guys later. But the whole concept here is that one of the relics of slavery signed. Wow. One of those
We
relics,
in these
man, is
streets.
that we are in the streets, but we can't. Our egos, I think, as men, have become fragile in some ways as a result of things that we've been through. Right? We try to protect ourselves by, kind of not digging into the vulnerable and not being okay with that. It's actually some conversations I remember them having about Jaden, and how there was some discomfort around Jaden being a young man and being able to express himself in the way he has in Willow as well, and how I think one of the posts I saw was that Black folks are uncomfortable with them because we don't know what it looks like to be free as young Black people. And I was like, that is insightful. And
Yeah,
honestly, that is also true. Because growing up as a kid, I didn't feel like I could be free, especially when it comes to creativity and expression, at least without being joked on or clowned on, what have you. So that means I limited myself. Again, I'm not trying to say that Jada was right. I'm not trying to say that Will is having the right reaction. I am saying that one thing I'm noticing about this Black man is that he is taking some responsibility for it. And I
hmm
think that when you've been traumatized, it is hard to take responsibility for your peace because, to the point I made earlier, right? Your head is on a swivel. You watching everything that's going on outside of you, trying to make sure it's safe. And if you have to monitor what's going on outside of you in his situation, I'd be monitoring Jada and August, and I'd be hyper vigilant saying, "Whoa, where you going with my wife? Whoa, that was my wife. We're not together, but hold on." And instead, he's saying, "Wait, wait, wait. Like, I was done with you. Like, inside, I had some stuff going on." And he didn't share about that stuff that was going on inside. But that's the interview I want to hear. Like,
right,
Jay, like, Will, what's
yeah,
going on in you? Like, what was
yeah,
going on when the breakup happened? What was happening?
yeah.
What's up with you? What's happening?
And he mentioned, I mean, this isn't to say that they both mentioned that they were both not necessarily entangled, but he alluded to that there were things that were going on his side too.
Hmm.
And so I think that you bring up a great point of there would be a great opportunity to get further understanding to share what that process looks like. When you're done with somebody, but then you realize that you're not done with them. How do you
Yeah.
show back up and still have the
Mm.
capacity to love them again or love them differently? Or I think in their case, to love them fully for the first time. And
Ooh,
so we're
Jay.
talking about like some real deep communication that had to happen for two people to show up on a show, even though for some it could have felt like it was scripted. To still be that vulnerable in a space, understanding their position, understanding what they represent to many people, that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of heart. And they knew we were going to have a field day with it, but they still said we got to put something out. So I think those deeper conversations of understanding what that process looks like, what they said, any deep relationship like that has to be forged through fire.
Forest and
Um,
fire. Yeah.
so it's just now I don't know if it's got to be entangled fire, but to each their own. But I'm just saying, like, bro, to overcome the ego in that space and still know that there is love for that other individual, a need to have them in your life for the rest of your life. I don't know if this is the first time we have seen this from a even just celebrity. I mean, in that space, but from an African American couple to talk about what these types of things look like and to be
Wow.
open and to be vulnerable and to discuss them on a platform where the whole world sees, the whole world gets to make their own decisions.
Whew.
Um, it created conversations like this. We're not the only podcast that's doing this. Everybody and their mama is talking about entanglement today.
Facts.
Uh,
Facts.
but we wanted to make sure we're talking about the mental space. And even with her and her entanglement with August, one thing that was interesting to me is that, she had kind of alluded to she just wanted to feel good. Now, of course, we went and put that to the Holly Berry movie and we chopped that up.
I just
All kinds of
want
crazy.
to feel good.
But, okay, anyway. But he was in a position. This is something we're not, this is a whole other segment that we're not going to be able to get into.
Okay.
She said she liked to help people and kind of go into now there. It sounded a little predatorial to me to
Okay.
help heal, and then that evolved into an entanglement. That
I see
was
what you're
like,
saying.
whoo! But it made me think:
Yeah.
how many times have we seen or been a part of relationships where two currently at that moment broken people get with each other to try and make each other feel
Whew.
good without
Boy, that
fixing
word
themselves
preaching.
first? And I was
Oh,
like,
boy.
yo,
Yo.
this is this is what we need to be focusing on. Many of us get into
Mm.
relationships trying to validate our self-worth by somebody
Yeah.
saying they like you, they love you, and they'll never leave. Versus
Yeah.
you gotta love yourself first enough to be able to receive
Bro.
something from another person.
That's what
So
we call codependency, bro. You are
yeah,
all over it. I mean, I think that, goodness, we do not have time to go down that road, but you are on it right there, bro. You are on it. That we do that all the time, and as a psychologist, what I'm hearing you say is that like I am legally bound to keep my distance sexually from patients for that reason because I am in their lives to help them, and crossing that boundary does more harm to them, right, than it does help them.
mm-hmm.
And
I can
and
see that.
and notice, right, that having that relationship might be quote unquote helpful, right? A romantic relationship might be helpful, but it will cause more harm than it will cause help, right? Beneficence and non-maleficence is what we call it. Non-malevolence, non-malevolence. I'm tripping. So, um like I think it's really important to your point to have boundaries, right? If I am hoping to help someone, even if you're not a therapist, right, even if you're not legally bound, if my goal is to help someone, then be careful about the bounds of that relationship and the impact that will have on someone else. Now what we're talking about, right, is privilege, right? I have the privilege to be able to help someone, and then I can choose to allow that relationship to turn into something else, which is why I think it's interesting you use the big P word, predatorial. I don't think the intention was bad, but to your
No, I
point,
don't think
I
so.
do think the impact was probably harder for August than there's space for us to contain. Um, so Jay, I think that yeah, you hit a real nail on the head right there. I was gonna mention one video, and then I want us to make sure to do some Black Lives Matter updates. There's a video by Dr. Abraham Tversky. I think that's how you say his name. Twerski. He's a rabbi, and he talks about love. He talks about fish love. I don't want to spoil it too much, but I'm gonna have to say a word on it. And his whole point here is that if you have something like a fish, I'm gonna spoil it. Who cares? So, what do you guys watch the video? Y'all might not watch the video. Who knows? But if you're mad at me for spoiling it, it's a 2 minute video. Whatever. So, and I'm gonna butcher it anyway. So sorry, Dr. Tversky. So he talks about walking over to a young man, just like in a river or something, and the young man is not in the river. He's like eating a fish that he got from the river, and he's saying, "Hey man, what are you doing?" He goes, "I'm eating fish." He's going, "Okay, cool. Well, you know, tell me about it." He's like, "Oh, well, I love fish." He's like, "You love fish?" He's like, "Yes, I just love fish." And he goes, "Okay, yeah. So you love fish so much that you decided to take it from its home, to kill it, to cook it, and then eat it. That's what you love fish that way." And then the young man goes, "Well, no, I didn't think about it like that." So what the rabbi goes on to say is that you don't love fish. You love what fish can do for you, right? And
Mm,
so he said a lot of us navigate the world having fish love. Well, we don't love the fish, right? Because if we love the fish, we would leave it in the water. We might feed it. We might let it be, right? And maybe even let it go if it never came back. But what we do is we want fish for what it can do for us, how it can serve us. And until we change that mindset, that dynamic, we'll continue to have fish love.
bro, that's deep. Woo!
Can't take credit
Maybe,
for it, bro.
hey, bro, that's a whole podcast episode right there, man. I'm
Bruh,
telling
fish love.
fish. I was like, man, we need to rechange this to plenty of fish. And I was like, still, man, still, we don't want to go there. That's good though. I
Oh,
like that. I like that, man.
yeah, yeah.
It gives you a different perspective on how we're looking at things and how we use it in the language that we use. Because I mean, that was one of the things that they were talking about. I was seeing, Black Twitter talk about. For those who don't know what Black Twitter is, it's just Black Twitter. Exactly what it sounds like. Black people on Twitter making really good
Yeah.
investigative journalism and thought provoking things that probably have nothing to do with research context, but provide you with a good laugh. But they did say something that you can't pull from, and they were
Okay.
saying, even the masking of uh, potential detrimental behavior and behaviors towards someone's well-being, but using love, like the words like love and and feel good, and to say I did it from a good space can somehow take away from the accountability that you have to protect the person that you're entangled with. And I was like,
Yes,
man, like
bro.
that's real, and
As a man,
we got
same
to make
thing,
sure we're
bro.
doing it because I mean, yeah, like I was about to say that. Right now, this is interesting because I think very few moments we have seen it from the space of Jada, from a woman's perspective in this happening. And I'll sometimes wonder, is this why it's such a big thing? Because it's happened. Men, we do it all the time.
Oh, bro.
Future's made a career off of this. I mean, he
Woo, woo,
streets. You know what I'm saying? Like
woo,
giving back to you belong to the streets. I listen to
woo.
Future, but I'm just saying, like we do that a lot. So
Yeah.
I'm glad the conversation started, but we have to make sure we're self-reflecting and remembering our positions in our relationships to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that we're not just saying we like fish and we're really hurting and harming and taking
Oh
that
boy.
entanglement out of the water. Um,
Tangling out of the water.
yes, sir. So, brother, we have about 9 minutes left. We
All
definitely want
right.
to get into our Black Lives Matter updates because, again, we will continue to push and drive this as we are on our quest for equity and to be able to show up and take space. Um, as the people that we are. So Black Lives Matter does not mean Black Lives Better. Again, Terry Crews. It just means that, hey, we need you all to recognize that we are here too. We deserve
Yes.
equitable access. We should be here. That you want to bring up your Constitution when it said all men, that should include us. So
You got that right.
we're gonna keep pushing and continue to push it. So, what's some updates that we have, brother?
Well, I mean, the first one we wanted to say is again back to Breonna Taylor. We noticed that I saw a quote, and I may have mentioned this in a previous episode. I don't know, but about how even in death, it seems as though Black women are forgotten, are overlooked, and it's unfortunate and it's very real because Breonna Taylor is no longer trending. George Floyd. I feel horrible about the martyrdom that's had to happen in his life, but Breonna Taylor is a different type of martyrdom. I don't even know if we can call it martyrdom. We can call it murder, because that young lady and neither of them are martyrs, right? Neither of them were hoping to do something, right? They were hoping to be alive. But what we see is that Black women, we have to really get behind our queens. That's what it comes down to. We have privilege, as you well know, and as men, Black men, I think I had a supervisor talk about how we most people usually identify, I think I said this before, but identify with the part of them where the injury is the most. And I identify with the most injury to my blackness, so I identify as Black first. Don't forget that I'm also male, which means I have a privilege, I have a platform, and it is my responsibility to use that platform in a way that raises the voices of those that are unheard, like Breonna Taylor. So lots of protests that are still happening, movements that are happening. You can still donate to Breonna Taylor's family. We are hoping that we'll put enough pressure on these necks so that we'll be able to catch every single person involved with her murder.
Absolutely.
So that's something I think that's really important for us to start with, bro.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man, and I agree, man. We have to do everything that we can to make sure that they're not forgotten. I know they passed a Breonna Taylor law or act or whatever that was, but that's just a part of the accountability. That's just for future instances, but we're looking for justice,
Yeah.
and that's just there shouldn't be this domain of just non accountability to assume that as a police officer you can do no wrong.
Yeah.
And in this space, a life was taken. We can't get her back. And she did nothing wrong. She was a model citizen. So we got to continue to push, uplift, and apply pressure. Apply
Right.
pressure the best way to get, and be creative in it too. Like I saw, I've shared a couple of the videos that ask, request to arrest the killers of Breonna Taylor, but it was via rap through one of our great
Yeah.
rappers, Toby, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he did it in a
Yeah.
creative way where people were coming to hear him rap, and he was like, "Arrest
Nah.
those killers, now get off
All
my
right.
page." So think about how to use your
Yeah.
creativity. This is again, we're using our platform to still keep our
Hmm.
name
Hmm.
going. We're using the hashtags. Continue to do that.
Hmm.
Another thing
Vanessa
too.
Vanessa Guillen is something else I wanted to mention, right? Is that we've also seen again, right? We're seeing that Black, it's not just Black lives, right? It's like the idea around feminism. I think when people first got a hold of the idea, it was about making women up. And that's not the founding principles around feminism, right? It's equity, right? And the concept here is that Breonna Taylor is extremely important, but we've got people in the trans community who have been murdered, not only by police officers, but by other Black folks. We've got folks, Vanessa Guillen, who was the young lady who was murdered on Fort Hood, and like in such a heinous way. And we know that there are certain sectors of the military that are protected in some ways in which it's going to be difficult to get justice for someone like her. But the point is to continue to say her name and do what we can as civilians, and even folks who are veterans, right? You do what you can in order to support her cause as well, because this ain't just about Black folks. This ain't just about Breonna and George, right? This ain't just about Tamir and Elijah. This ain't just about Robert, right, and David. This is about like people being treated like humans, and not being chopped up and found in a locker, or not being rolled up in a mat, or not being killed with a knee to their neck or what have you. Yeah, man, I just want to say that piece too, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. We're kind of running out of time here too, but just reminding everyone as you continue to go back to work and continue to work in your spaces, try to continue to push for equity, and also making sure that this Black Lives Matter movement right now isn't trendy. We're seeing a lot of it become trendy to say, "Oh, we posted the black square. Oh, we say Black Lives Matter." But we need to make sure we are able to create spaces that hold our companies and organizations accountable. So we're talking about policy change, things that can be implemented. So we know if representation isn't there, we know that one of the best things to do is implement of sponsorship programs, networking opportunities. We're trying to change actions and behaviors of
Yes.
people who have denied access into spaces. And so be thinking about that. Look at your spaces. Are there sponsorship programs for people of color and women to be able to get advancement and leadership opportunities? If not, ask for them to be developed and be a part of that process. But I think we'll probably, touch on a little bit more in our next episode too,
Yeah.
because I know we try to keep it within an hour so we can put it on our IG live. But we're definitely going to touch on it. So just remember, don't be reactionary to the right now. People are trying to appease folks who might be feeling a certain way, but make sure the appeasement comes from equity, creating policy, creating systems that knock down barriers to equality in terms of representation and just us being able to take up space. So throw that
Oh
out.
yeah. Well, bro, I think that's what we have for today, bro. I want to just make sure at the end of all our episodes that we always run down how you guys can get in contact with us. So from what I understand, Jay, they can email us at
Quarantine Snacks Podcast at gmail.com, all one word.
okay. How about Facebook? How do you find us?
Find us on Facebook at Quarantine Snacks Podcast.
How about Instagram?
Quarantine Snacks Podcast, all one word.
How about YouTube?
YouTube, Quarantine Snacks Podcast, spaces in
And on
between.
Twitter? Okay.
The QSP.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. We had a blast. You have a blast, Jay?
I had a great time, man. I had a great time. We're going to keep this going.
Heck
I
yeah,
love
man.
it.
Until next time, bro. Keep snacking.
All right, brother. Keep snacking. I love it.
All right.
Peace.
Peace. That's great. That's great. That's great.